Hello everybody. Today we're going to show you about the metadata features in Cohler Classical, which is one of the really outstanding and unique features not available in most other digital recording software these days. Metadata is information about the file that is stored in the file. This works with WAV files. The standard for inserting this information was invented back in 1991, almost 20 years ago, by IBM and Microsoft. And strangely, most audio software doesn't include this capability. On the other hand, for photographers, that kind of information is very standard in all cameras. In any case, all the functions are here under the menu Options, Metadata, WAV. You can set the metadata that you're going to insert. You can get it from files that exist. You can update files after they've been written, and you can analyze and see the information in files. Now, the two pieces that you can't manually set are the time of recording and the software that records it. Those are automatically inserted, and they never change at recording time. All the other information can be changed at any time. Obviously, you wouldn't want the recording timestamp or the software recording stamp to be changed, because that's information about what software recorded it and when it was done. Very important archival information. So let me quickly show you how it works. It's very simple. We have, let's say, a 3-track recording here. I arm to record. Come on, don't have any takes yet. So I record a take. Command R to record a take. I'm recording a take. This is take 1. Stop. This is take 2. Just recording my voice. Stop. And this is take 3. Recording and stop. Okay, so there are my 3 takes. Now, the metadata that is in the files is whatever was already set. If I go to Options, Metadata WAV, and look at Set, I had set just the engineer field to J. Cohler and the subject or composer Schubert Sonatine. By the way, the fields that you can set, there are 10 fields defined in the standard. Artist, comments, copyright, engineer, keywords, name, product, subject, source, and technician. The standard didn't define those terms very, very specifically, so they can be used in various ways. The normal way that they're used is sort of in parentheses. So artist is usually the performers or conductor. You can list them, multiple ones separated by commas or semicolons. Comments is whatever you want. Copyright of the recording or the material or the music on there. Engineer could be the producer or the engineer. Keywords, name is usually the piece name. Product is going to be usually, if it's for a CD, the title of the CD or a video or something. Subject is usually used for the composer. Source is usually the originator source or distributed by. And technician is another engineer or editor. In fact, some metadata applications, like the one I'm going to show you, combines the engineer field and the technician field into one field. But in the standard, it's actually 2 separate fields. So right now I had these set to J. Cohler and Schubert Sonatine. So if I go and look, let's say, at any of these items, let's say I look at this item and I go to Options, WAV, File Info. It's going to show me the info for the first file of that item group, because they're all, the item group is all the same. And there you have it. So down at the bottom here, this list segment is where the metadata is stored. You see J. Cohler is the engineer. The subject is Schubert Sonatine. And the 2 pieces of information that are immutable, the recording timestamp. You'll see the T and the Z in there. That tells you that it's universal time code. And the software is REAPER 610, OS x64, and Cohler Classical 213. And you'll see that information on the software is also stored up here in this chunk called BEXT, which is the Broadcast Wave Extension. REAPER has the capability of recording a BEXT chunk. You can check or uncheck that in REAPER Preferences. And the originator here has been updated. REAPER by default will just write the word REAPER in there. With Cohler Classical, it puts the REAPER version number and the Cohler Classical version number in there, so you have complete information there. all this other information is just the information about the file itself, its length, its sample rate, speed, its number of bits, etc. And the detailed information you get here is actually perfectly accurate and much more extensive than what you get in most other applications. So let's go look at this file, track 2, take 3, in this application called Media Info. So if I say open, and I want track 2, take 3, this one up top here, open that file, you'll see it says the file size is 934 kilobytes. More accurately, it's 956,288 bytes. The duration it gives accurate to the millisecond, 3 seconds, 317 milliseconds. I give it accurate to the sample here. So you'll see it's 3 seconds, 317 milliseconds, and 38 samples. At 96,000 samples per second, there are going to be 96 samples in every millisecond. So it's worth knowing that sometimes. The overall bit rate, which it quotes here as 2,306 kilobits per second, is really this number here, 288,000 bytes per second. So if you multiply that by 8, you get this number. But now you see where it stores things. So the standard calls the engineer IENG. Okay, in this piece of software, Media Info, they have a field called encoded by. And their encoded by field actually includes both the engineer and the technician. I didn't have a technician listed, but if I did, let's fill in a couple more fields and you can see what they look like. So I'm going to come up here, go to Options, go to Wave, Set, and I'll just type information to each of these fields. So in the artist field, I'll type artist. Comments, I'll type, the word so we know which field is which. Keywords in the keywords field, name in the name field, product in the product field, subject in the subject field, source, and technician. Okay, so those are the names, and engineer, we'll put engineer. This way we'll see where this other application puts this information. So I click OK, and then I tell it to update that file. So, in fact, it'll update all 3 files because I have them all selected. So I go to Wave, Update. It tells me it's about to update the metadata for 3 files. OK, it did it. Okay, so now if I close this file and reopen it in Media Info, we'll see all of that information. So what they call track name is what's called name in the standard. They call director is artist. Producer, that's from the BEXT chunk. So you'll see if you look in my software here, the BEXT originator is what they're calling producer in this application. And then what's called source, they call original source form distributed by. And notice what they call encoded by is actually the engineer / the technician. Subject is subject, keywords is keywords, recorded date is the CRD field, the creation date field over here, which is right here in UTC timecode. They add a field called encoded date, which actually this comes from the BEXT chunk. You notice that that time is not UTC timecode. So it says 8:45:15 because I'm in UTC -4. That is the time in the BEXT chunk here, 8:45:15. So they're taking that information from the BEXT chunk, but it's local time, not UTC time. The writing application is the software, which is down here, ISFT. The product is they're calling original source form / name. The copyright is the copyright, and the comments are the comments. So you can see all of that metadata is read correctly by any application that understands this standard. Down here, you can see all the formatting information, PCM, little endian signed. You can see that here. One channel, 96,000 samples per second, 288,000 bytes per second. The block size is 3. Bits per sample is 24. All that same information is here and up here. Okay? So that's really all there is to it. Now, you can change the metadata of a group of files too. So let's say, since I changed the metadata of these 3, but I haven't changed these here. So if I look at those, it doesn't have that metadata. Let's say I want the metadata to be the same in those. So I can just select this and this, right? Check my metadata, what it's currently set to. It's currently set as we had it, right? And now I'm going to say update the metadata in these files. So I go wave update. It's going to update 6 files. I click OK. It's done. It now updated it. I can now look at those and see, indeed, all that metadata has been updated. Now, it didn't change, obviously, the time that that file was recorded, or the recording software. The recording software is the same, obviously, but so it never touches those 2 fields. It just reports them. Those are read-only fields. But all the other metadata can be changed. So if you're in a recording session, you're recording a piece, you can set your metadata for that particular piece. If you forget to do it, you can update that later. And then when I let's see, what else? I guess that's about it. So editing the metadata of a file is easy. You just click on it. You just decide. You can get the metadata. So let's say I have my metadata set to be all empty. No, it's not. Let's just get rid of all of this. Right? But I want to set up and I want to grab the metadata from this file and put it in another file. Let's say I record a new take here. So I'm recording take 4 now. And this was recorded with no metadata other than the creation date and software. Okay? But now let's say, oops, I forgot to set the metadata the way I want it. I can get the metadata from here and put it over here. So to get the metadata from here, I go Options, Wave, Get. So now the metadata settings have been updated from what was in that item. So if I go look at the metadata, you'll see that's all there now. Now I can come over here and say update it. It's been updated. Now if I look at it, now it has all the metadata in it. So that's all there is to it. Your 4 commands for metadata right here. Set, get, update, and showing you what's in the files. That's metadata in a nutshell in Cohler Classical.